back here. Obviously, coming back with another title fight. We love doing fights here. Fans are great, and it's a great arena. We appreciate it. All the help that we've had from this arena, and all the support we get from the fans and media in this area. Who's got the first question? Go ahead.
Dana, I know that you've mentioned before in the past that Colorado and Denver in particular is a tough place to fight because of the altitude, or especially title fights. You know, we kind of saw a little bit of that last time. But we have two kind of very different athletes with Ben and Frankie here. What are you expecting out of this kind of fight, or are you expecting the same results?
We were just talking about that, you know, when I saw these guys backstage. And, you know, as a professional fighter, you know you're coming here. You have to prepare for this altitude, and whatever type of athlete, you know, the football teams or whatever, they know what they're going to get when they come here. So I'm sure these guys are going to prepare. Plus, you're talking about two athletes here that never stop. These guys keep coming, keep moving forward. You know, they're very aggressive, always in great shape fighters. So I don't think we're going to see that with either one of these guys here.
Thank you.
Have you ever had a fighter turn down fighting in Denver because of the altitude?
Not that I'm aware of, no. I don't think so. I mean, if Rampage didn't, nobody will.
And on a different subject, a lot of fans, you know, they do Twitter campaigns, things on message boards, trying to get fights matched up and stuff. Do the fans actually have any influence on the matchups that you guys make?
Yeah, you know, I do read everything on Twitter and online. I am very in tune and in touch with what the fans want. And the way that I look at this business and what we do is, we're a pay-per-view company, that's what we are. So we need to put on the fights that the fans want to see, or we're not going to sell tickets or pay-per-views.
Thank you.
This is a question for Dana. Dana, bringing in the WBC fighters, I think the fact that Benson ran through the division like he did really was, in my opinion, even though he's a phenomenal fighter, was really unexpected. What were your thoughts, and did you ever see this scenario happening so quickly where Benson Henderson won the league title?
I just think you never know in that division. It's such a talented division. There's so many tough guys in there. It's not that it's tough getting to the top, it's staying at the top in this weight division. There are so many talented guys in it, and you know, anybody can win on any given day.
And around the same thought process for Benson, how do you feel when you came into the UFC? What was your mindset like? Did you feel people were maybe counting you out originally, or did you feel that you were right on?
No, I don't feel like anybody was like counting me out or anything like that. For me, I always just feel I'm gonna win my next fight. When it's all said and done, you have to win your next fight. You have any problems, anything comes around, just win your next fight. People are saying bad stuff about you and yada yada yada. Just win your next fight. All they're saying you can't do this, you can't do that. Just win your next fight. The answer to everything, as far as MMA goes, just win your next fight. Period.
Now, what is it about Frankie Edgar that just has him so involved in so many auto rematches? And if this next fight is as close as the first one, is it a possibility that we'll see an immediate rematch once again?
I don't think so. I mean, Frankie Edgar is a special individual, man. This kid has so much heart, talent, you know, the list goes on, and I have a lot of respect for him. And you know, when this whole thing was going down, it was very public that I wanted him to move down in a weight class. He didn't want to. He wanted this fight so bad with Henderson again. I literally was in New York. He came out and met with me, and I said, you know how I feel, I want you to move down a weight class. And he said, give me this fight, man, give me this fight. I had to give him the fight.
And Frankie, is it a possibility that if you do win the belt back, that we can see you face Jose Aldo in the very near future?
Yeah, I mean, you know, going down, I'm obviously not thinking about that right now. You know, this fight's only 2 months away. That's all I'm thinking about is then, and, you know, all that's left right now.
And for Dana, with what happened in boxing the other night, you made some statements about the Nevada State Athletic Commission. Wondering what's the easiest athletic commission or the best athletic commission with whom you've been involved?
You know, there's a lot of good athletic commissions out there. The thing that I like New Jersey, the thing that I like about New Jersey's athletic commission is they you know, it seems to me like they're trying to work to make things better in New Jersey. And there really needs to be something really needs to be done about judging and reffing. When bad calls are made, bad decisions, they need to bring these guys in and they need to have them watch the tapes, watch the film. If you look throughout, all other sports, football, basketball, baseball, everyone has used technology to make the sport better and a lot more fair, except for combat sports. Let's get some instant replay. Let's, listen, refs can make bad calls. It can happen. The commission is right there on the side. They can look at the instant replay and they can overrule a call. What's wrong with that? Why is that a bad thing? It's not that the ref is horrible or whatever. He made a bad decision. Maybe he was at the wrong angle. He couldn't see. We could play that thing right back on a monitor, and the commission can make a ruling on it right there that night. It's crazy. Every other sport has used technology to make the sport better, except for combat sports. It's ridiculous. It needs to be done. But they don't listen to me.
Dan, with two questions actually. Number one is, does the experience of the commission have an impact on the kind of outcomes of fights? Do you see, because obviously Las Vegas has extensive experience with
Usually
and
it should.
on paper.
It really should when you think about it. Obviously, there's going to be places, there's going to be smaller markets that you go to that the officials there don't have the type of experience that a place like Jersey or Vegas or even California would have. But yeah, you would think that those would be the places where you'd see less mistakes, but it's not the case. It seems like we keep seeing more and more mistakes. I don't think we've ever had any major problems here in Colorado. Not that I can remember. And I hope we don't when we come next time. See, the thing is, the point of the matter is, when you see what happened the other night, everybody's pissed off and everybody's up in arms because it was such a huge, high-profile fight, right? And it happens every week in the UFC. There's somebody, and the thing that sucks the worst is how much time, energy, and how much of themselves these guys put into these, training for these fights. And it affects everything. It affects their livelihood, it affects their records, it affects their place in history, because one guy doesn't know what he's doing and made a huge mistake. It's a big deal, and it needs to be fixed.
And then second question for Frankie. Frankie, I'm a county guy. Question for you is, obviously a lot of fighters get involved in their own communities, doing work with charities. What kind of charities are you involved with back home?
The Make-A-Wish Foundation, Mobile actually hosts a big thing in Waretown, so I'm always involved in that. And just donating my time or even just watching off autographs and stuff like that when I can. Thank you.
This is really a question for all three of you. I want to get your opinion on this. The comedy strike really just came into effect recently in the UFC. What was the thought process behind that? Do you think it's really that the way the fight's going, as far as MMA is concerned, with paying for it?
Well, in our production, we try to, again, using technology, we try to, make the production better, more informative, and try to be accurate in all the things that we do. And we had the comedy strike, and I don't know if it changes people's opinions on who won the fight and who didn't, but it's informative. And if you look at a fight and you see that the guy landed 130 more punches or whatever it may be, and the guy that win the fight, it is what it is.
Benson, do you think that makes more of an educated opinion as far as casual fans go?
I believe so. I mean, the more information you give the casual fans, you don't quite know the details of MMA and all that stuff. It can only help. With the comedy strike, I think it's somewhat a little bit more difficult in MMA because you don't know how to weigh whether a kick lands to the leg, a good hard leg kick, a jab, how to weigh which one weighs more, which one is better, which one is worse, that sort of thing. Whether it be, you count strikes in general. Yeah, we have regular strikes up, which one's landing, which one's hurt more, that sort of stuff. And it can be tough to do that.
What about you, Rick?
Yeah, understand these guys. I think it definitely needs more information. We'll just give more information, you guys can make better decisions, but it's not concrete.
This is a question for both fighters. Frankie, start off with you. Do you see that it poses any problem fighting here in Benson's backyard?
No, I don't. As long as judges aren't at his own or not,
Benson, are you good as your uncle? Okay. What about you, Benson? Do you see that it could be an advantage to you at all?
As far as advantage-wise, it's more the fans. I love beating up the fans. They get me pumped up. They get me excited to go fight here again in Denver for the first time since like '08, I believe, or so. I'm excited because I know I'm going to feed up to you guys, and it's going to be get me more pumped up. Hopefully, in turn, get you guys more pumped up, and we'll keep beating up each other like that.
This question's for Frankie. Frankie, you've been on the other side of the auto rematch. You've been the champion, defending that title multiple times. Given the fact now that you're trying to get this title back, is it adding any more fuel to your fire for this particular match?
Yeah, that's the question. Well, for me, title on the line, title on the line. Yeah, it doesn't matter what the fight I'm fighting. So, I guess it adds a little more motivation just because I had the outlet on my way last time. But still, I'm that same drive of training, same drive when I stepped in octagon.
Nice. Now, Benson, obviously being acclimated to Colorado, having history here, is there anything you're doing specifically? I mean, we've talked to the altitude here and fighting in Denver. Is there anything you're going to do specifically, maybe come train a week or two before the fight itself?
Yeah, I'm gonna come out early, just do some things, do some equipment stuff out back east. But I'll definitely come here early so I can acclimate.
You want to get on the question? For Dana, obviously, I just one for Frankie. Actually, you've been involved in a lot of international fights lately, both in Japan and Dubai. Fighting in the United States, how is that really different, or do you feel that you get more international experience, more international play fighting outside the States, or is it more important for you to grow up home for a little bit here in the U.S. first?
It's kind of good to do both. You get to experience a lot of different cultures and just countries and whatnot. Obviously, fighting in America, I think it's just easier. You don't have to travel as far and deal with different foods and stuff like that. So I like fighting home if I could.
And Dana, this question also relates to you. Was it purposeful that Frankie ended up on all those cards? Obviously, he's a very clean-cut guy, good ambassador for the sport.
Well, when we put these fights together, it just depends on wherever they land. Injuries, when he last fought, there's a lot of different factors. Obviously, we use guys that we think will sell them on the markets too. You got to be able to sell tickets. So, a lot of different factors.
Okay. Question about the rash of injuries that have been plaguing MMA as a whole. Do you feel that the insurance policies that have been newly implemented for the UFC help or hurt, and if so, how for both situations?
I think they help because when these guys do get injured, now they're able to, go see a doctor and get taken care of. The notion that because there's health insurance now there's more injuries is insane. I mean, we're just going through a streak of bad luck here. We went through it last year too, where guys are getting injured. What's happening is, when you think about it, if you look at the sport 7, 8, 10 years ago, right? There weren't that many good guys to train with. Now when you look at some of these camps are packed with killers, man. I mean, you got the top 10 guys in the world, every weight division training with each other. When you have those type of training partners, guys are going to get injured. We're going through this evolution right now in the sport where these guys need to learn to tone down the training and stop killing each other in the gyms.
And then for the fighter, is it safe to say that rarely ever does a fighter come into a fight 100% healthy, even with the insurance policy in place?
I would say for sure. Yeah, you never go into a fight 100% completely healthy. You're doing something wrong in training camp. You're always going to take some bruises going in. You got to make sure you keep it to a minimum, and then hopefully the last week after you do a lot of media stuff, get down to weight and whatnot, then you have time to heal up your body a little bit.
Frankie, yeah, agree. That's the juggling act. You got to try to build train hard, but stay injury free. Again, taper them down. Making sure you're doing that correctly helps minimize the injuries as you're walking into the octagon.
For Frankie and Benson, what's the worst injury you guys have gone into the cage with?
The worst injury I've gone to a cage with, maybe stuff in detail. Thankfully, I haven't had any real serious injuries after the fight or going into the fight, nothing like that. So I've been blessed so far.
Yeah, not serious, but just banged up, just not feeling 100%. I had issues with my back before, so I probably said something, it's just adding pain on my back.
Benson, just wanted to know, how much has your success in UFC kind of validated your career? What did it mean for you to win a belt?
It meant a lot, man, to be honest. A lot of different levels, it definitely validated my choice. I was going to be a cop here in Denver before I became a fighter. So it definitely validated, hey, well, you made a good choice. You're making some money, you're doing well with your, with your career choice I made. It meant a lot to win the belt, actually. Still at times, I don't think it's fully hit me, but it hits me every day a little bit more, It means a lot.
And have you taken a step back and kind of been surprised at where you came from some years ago, how popular you are, and everything you've accomplished?
Oh yeah, obviously. I don't think I'm one of those guys who kind of gets accustomed, gets used to, more notoriety, more fame, or like that. I mean, every day I'm surprised when I'm walking down the street, someone yells my name, like, what, how did you, oh, that's right. Okay, I understand. So that stuff still takes me by surprise every now and then. And I definitely want to be the kind of guy who appreciates that. I want to become like jaded and, oh yeah, I'll talk to you later, blah, blah, blah. I want to enjoy the journey. This fighting career is going to be pretty short of mine. I'm retired not too many years here, so I want to make sure I enjoy the journey. It's a long process, but at the same time, it's an incredibly short process. I want to enjoy it.
Frankie, Dana just said that you asked for this rematch. How satisfied are you now that you are in the rematch?
Yeah, I was pumped to get it. I felt that I've done enough in my career, and obviously the last couple of fights were where I deserved it. And, the fight was close enough, and it was exciting. I believe we're going to put on another exciting fight, so it kind of made sense on a bunch of levels. So, I'm happy that we're here in Denver for the press conference, and looking forward to training hard the next 2 months for this fight.
Is it frustrating for you at all in your last fights, rematches with BJ, rematches with Gray, now a rematch with Ben? Is it frustrating at all to not have a new opponent?
I don't even think of it like that. I kind of come accustomed to it, but it just is what it is.
Did you learn anything in the last fight, key-wise, that you can take in this next one to win accountability?
Yeah, for sure. Looking at tape, obviously we're gonna make adjustments to these next couple months, and see things we can capitalize on. Obviously, Ben's gonna make these adjustments as well. So it's kind of a little bit of a guessing game. Who's gonna do what, and you just gotta figure it out when it's 11.
And then for Dana, is it frustrating at all for you guys in the UFC as far as all the rematches going on? What does it mean to feel like you're having these immediate matches?
Well, I think the rematches that have gone on with Frankie Edgar show that, that this guy is very tough and durable. I believe that he should be at 145 pounds. He doesn't agree with me. The fact, for me, to be honest, the fact that I believe that he belongs at 145 pounds, and the fact that he's held the title and beat, if you look at the list of guys that he's beat at 155 pounds, the guy's an incredible fighter, a tough, durable guy, amazing athlete, and man, when he's shining at 145 pounds, but he wants to stay at 55. And what am I going to say? Look at who he's beat and what he's done. It's hard to argue with the kid, What am I going to say? He sits down, tells me he wants to fight. The guy's fought everybody. He's beat him. He's won. Even if he had, someone more close when we did rematches, he's done it. So I respect it, and that's why we're here today.
This question is for Benson. Going into the last fight, obviously the pressure was on Frankie because he had the title. And I know that you always go into your fights real laid back and everything like that. Do you feel more pressure going into this fight than you did in the last one?
So far, no, not necessarily. I don't feel any additional pressure. I always place a lot of pressure on myself, not to win, but just to perform well. I want to go out there and perform well. Sometimes, whatever it is you do, you have a bad performance. Like, man, maybe I would have lost, but I just would have done better. So I place a lot of pressure on myself just to perform to how I know I can. So far in this fight, or being ready for this fight and stuff, I haven't really felt any additional pressure on myself right now.
Frankie, do you feel any more pressure to try to get the title back than you did actually defending the title?
Yeah, again, I'm kind of similar to Ben, where I put a lot of pressure on myself to win. Like I said before, it doesn't matter if it's a fight or not. I just want to win this fight, and being that I did lose the title and I want to get it back and I tasted it before, it definitely gives me a little more drive, but I don't know about the pressure.
He wants to shut me up.
Yeah, for sure.
Dan, a quick question for you, actually. Colorado is known as a hotbed of MMA, great fighters coming out of Colorado all the time, great feeder systems with our shows here that we have, and you're nodding. But how important is Colorado in the grand scheme of things for the UFC and basically recruiting fighters to fight with the UFC?
It's a great market all the way around for us, and all the things that you said, plus, I mean, if you look at a lot of these places that are yelling and screaming at me every day on Twitter, come back here, when are you coming back here? And how much we've been to Denver. I think that's a testament to what an awesome market this is.
Do you guys keep a real tight radar on fighters coming up out of here? And
All over the world, yeah, not just here, everywhere. But as far as a market for us, Denver's awesome. I mean, I don't even know off the top of my head. Somebody else, fans probably know better than I do. How many times we've been here just the last 3 years. And there's places, other places that are great markets that we haven't been to in 3 years.
just keep coming back.
We will.
This question is for you. Then I think you said that you guys need to learn how to train and build your skill themselves. What would your advice be for all of these up-and-coming trainers all around the world? Just trying really hard and training to get to the UFC. What would your advice be to them?
Well, I'm not saying kill themselves, I'm saying kill each other. What happens is these places are packed with really top guys now, different than it was, in the gyms around the country 7-8 years ago. You had one top guy and a bunch of guys that, were in their training. Now you've got these gyms packed with some of the best fighters in the world. And what I'm saying is they need to tone it down, learn how to train hard without killing each other. And I think your question to me was the up-and-coming guys, the guys trying to get in the UFC. It's pretty simple and basic. I love all the things that I don't like about these guys all being in the same camp, hurting each other. So the fights have to keep being canceled. The good part of that is all the up-and-coming guys get to train with the best. And to be the best someday, you have to train with the best. And you just keep training, keep fighting these smaller shows, and you will get in the UFC someday. Or the Ultimate Fighter.
Along those same lines, the UFC's application of WECM literally has changed the landscape of the UFC rankings. Are you guys still interested in acquiring other smaller promotions, or is the Ultimate Fighter a good enough feeding system for you guys at this moment?
Yeah, we're done buying companies.
This is a question for Frankie. Frankie, obviously, Dan included, have been really urging you to drop down the weight class. You've wrestled for a long time. You've done the whole weight cutting thing. Aside from being extremely focused and being at 155, do you feel that you perform better due to the fact that your weight cutting is very minimal to 0 at 155?
Yeah, I don't know. Some people think that just because I don't cut weight, I take down punches or whatever, or damage in fights. I cut weight in college, and I was kind of the same aggressive guy. So I just think that's just who I am. I think no matter what weight class I'm at, I'm still gonna, be able to get in there and scrap on.
For Dana, going back to the Ultimate Fighter for a minute. There's Ultimate Fighters now in Brazil, in the U.S., and I've heard it said that they're going to be throughout the world. Any chance we'll see champions from the Ultimate Fighter facing off against other champions from the Ultimate Fighter so that they then become the Ultimate Fighter and get in? Some kind of a tournament amongst Ultimate Fighter winners?
That's my long-term goal. That's what I've been working toward. What I want to do is, right now we got Brazil, we got the United States, and then we're launching right now. Both of our matchmakers are in Australia right now. I think we're doing an Australian, we're getting guys from Australia, and then they're going to England and doing England too. And we're doing England versus Australia for the next Ultimate Fighter. And as we continue, yeah.
Outstanding. Thank you for doing that.
And as we continue to get the Ultimate Fighter in these countries, eventually we can line it up to when they all start around the same time, and then the winners face each other from the different countries. You do almost like a World Cup of tough. And that's the long-term goal. And then you would end with one world champion.
That's amazing. Thank you.
Thank you. We're getting there, slowly but surely.
Yeah, this question's for Benson. I was just wondering, I know with Edgar getting the rematch against you, there was a lot of people thinking that Pettis should have had it, or maybe even now with Nate Diaz winning. Do you feel comfortable with the fact that he did get the rematch, or do you feel that you should have had a different moment for this fight?
To be honest, like I said before, I don't care really what people in front of me. All I know is I want to get to Anderson Silva's records. I want to dethrone him from from the record books. If he's at 12 or 13 or 14 out defenses, I'm going to have one more above him. You got to start with Frankie, the guy they put in front of me. Doesn't matter whoever it is. I really could care less who they put in front of me. I'm not one of those guys who has animosity towards other fighters. I want to fight this guy. I want to fight this guy. He has a weird haircut. I want to fight him. I don't care. Whatever. Whoever Dan, Shelby, those guys say this is the guy who's next. It's cool. Sign it. Let's do it.
And for Dana, as far as the rematches go, would you prefer to see a different fighter with every one, or are you guys comfortable just continuing?
No, you're right, and believe me, I've heard this a lot. And first of all, I respect the fact that he did step up and accept the fight. And like I said, we just talked about this a minute ago. I was very, very vocal and very public about the fact that I wanted Frankie to move to 145 and whatever. But I respect the guy. A lot of respect for him. He's fought wars here in this company, and anything we've ever asked of Frankie, he's done. When we have guys that are like that and we work so well with, when I'm sitting there with him and his father, and he's like, please give me, this guy was just a world champion. And you gotta respect it, and I respect him very much as a fighter and as a person, and we gave him the rematch, and I respect him for taking it. Would I like to unclog the 155 and get the thing going? Yeah, but I'm not going to disrespect this guy who's done what he's done with this company.
MMA as a sport right now, it's evolving, it has to evolve, the sport itself is growing. Benson, you talked about the evolution as a fighter yourself. When you end up with an honor rematch, do you still have time to evolve as a fighter? When you see you face Frankie again, are we going to see a different Benson?
Absolutely. I think even more so. Having spent 25 minutes, in the cage with Frankie, I have to get better. I have to evolve. I can't bring the same thing to this next fight. I bring the same tools, same skill set to this next fight. He's going to beat the crap out of me. I have to be better. It forces you more to be better. The reason why guys go into these super gyms and have the 10 best guys in the world train together is because they make you better. The fight's the same way. I'm going to be a better fighter because I am fighting Frankie again.
And Frankie, even more so, that question applies to you even more so because of all the honor rematches yourself. Do you find it hard to evolve as a fighter when you're just fighting the same guy? You fought, 3 different guys in a matter of how many different fights you've had?
Yeah, no, same thing with Frank. He forces you to be better. It's like steel sharpens steel, in other words. So, I can't go in the same guy. I gotta look at the things, adjustments I can make, and improve on those things. And you have to apply them right away. That's the thing, and you have to apply them better.
This question is for Dana. Dana, UFC 150 is a huge milestone. Once again, back here in Denver. Can the fans expect any surprises on the card or anything else to be added?
Sure, it doesn't matter what I add, it'll fall off. So
So don't talk about it, right?
yeah, well, the bottom line is, we kind of roll with the punches. We're getting used to it. Like a year ago when this was happening to us, it was devastating when guys would fall off, and I used to get sick over it. But this is the business we're in. This is what we do. We make fights. So when fights fall out, we make other ones. And there's been many cases where a fight fell out, and we actually ended up making a better one. So we always scramble and put the cards together. And one thing whether you're buying a ticket to the UFC or you're putting your money down for pay-per-view, we're going to deliver a great card. And the cards that we bring and the cards that we've been putting on, I've been so blown away and proud to be in this business dealing with these fighters. Every card that we've been putting on has been, even this card last Friday, the main event card was awesome. These guys get in there and they do it and they deliver every time. So it's a fun sport to be involved in. It's a fun sport to be a fan of. And it's a fun sport to cover. It's all because of these guys. I'm the bells and whistles guy. These are the guys that go in and actually deliver.
Awesome. Another question, with some recent cuts from the UFC again, is that just part of the business? I mean, you have to structure, some restructure.
What was the question?
Some cuts from the UFC.
Cuts?
Yeah.
That's part of being in professional sports. I mean, but it's funny, me and Craig were talking about that on the flight here. I mean, when you look at other professional sports, Ocho Cinco was looking for a place to land. He just got cut. You know what I mean? What's it? I can't remember his name now. The one that's married to the Kardashian sister. Odo. Freaking Odo, man. He won the 6-man award like 4 times. And he gets cut from the Mavericks. He's flopping out there, and now they're saying, LA might take him back, but nobody's picked him up. That's your life in professional sports, man. It's crazy. You come off just winning the world championships, and then now you're floating around out there and don't know if you have a job. The thing about being involved in professional sports, it's awesome. It's very glorious. At times you make tons of money, but man, it can go away just like that. It's the crazy thing about being a professional athlete.
And a question about going back to expansion, or global expansion that is. The UFC has really done an unbelievable job in expanding into different continents and countries. We haven't really seen much in terms of India or Africa. Are those continents on the radar, and kind of what does that really entail?
It's crazy you just asked me that question. How did we pull that out of nowhere? We are right now, we've been working on India. We're going into India. That's already done. We're already on television there. And now we're going to bring a live event there very soon. But literally, I'm not kidding you, like 3 days ago, we just started talking about we're about to launch a deal down in South Africa. And actually, mixed martial arts is huge in South Africa right now. There's a show down there now that I just heard about that's doing like 1 million, 2 viewers every time it's on. So the sport is booming all over the world. South Africa's next. That's where we're going.
Are there any other Colorado fighters that we can expect to see on this card?
I'm sure there is. Yeah, I'm sure we'll be pulling some guys from Colorado.
Rematch? Names?
No, I have nothing yet. I have nothing. This is what I got right now. We'll build the rest of the card and see how it goes. I'm afraid to announce cards now.
Hey, Dan, I want to thank you for giving us another title fight here. I have questions for both fighters. First, Frankie, have you made any other kind of adjustments? I mean, you've had the same boxing, same jiu-jitsu. Are you adjusting in any way to come back with Benson?
Just bringing in, some guys to work with that can, emulate Benson the best you can. It's tough to emulate certain guys, but, just making sure I have the right training partners.
Cool, awesome. And what's the attitude like for you and Benson with all the wins you guys are stacking up? You guys are doing really well right now.
It feels good. It feels good. It's nice to be on a little win streak, have guys come over to our gym and do positive things. Talking about with Jamie Varner, he comes over to the lab, gets a last-minute call to the UFC, big show against a killer in Edson Barboza, a guy who might have been in a few of my nightmares, and Jamie handled it. I think it shows things that Jamie brings to the table, because he's world class. He is that good, that skilled. His skills were always there. There's a bit more of a mental thing with Jamie, and him coming over to the lab, I think we were able to help him out. It's nice to have that feeling at the gym.
Thank you.
I'm over here.
Yeah, go ahead, buddy.
With the obvious size difference in these two gentlemen, is there ever going to become a time where day of the fight there's going to be a cap as far as the weight's concerned?
Will there be a what?
Like a weight
Day of
cap?
weigh-ins?
No, the day of the fight versus what they weigh when they step into the octagon.
I doubt it. I mean, it's been that way forever. I mean, guys cut weight, get down to the weight, the weight class. Frankie chooses to fight at 55. Did I mention I didn't think we should say 55? I don't know if I mentioned it.
Thank you.
Could have kicked my ass.
And you have time for me and my buddy to take you to lunch?
To lunch? I gotta fly back to Vegas, but thank you. I would if I wasn't.
I want to hang out. You want to go?
Yeah, we're going out. We didn't do. Yeah.
I got a question for Dana. Who's next in line for the belt? Is it Nate Diaz and Anthony Pettis? Are they fighting for the number one contender? How's that work?
Who's next?
Yeah.
I know the answer to this question and I can't remember. I swear to God, I do know the answer. Anybody know? Huh?
Nate Diaz.
Diaz what? Nate Diaz what? Is next in line? Yeah, there you go. I'm out of it, man. I'm sorry.
Hey Dana, there's some stuff floating around on the internet about...
Of course there is.
Yeah, big surprise, but Bubba Jamin's talking about steroids affecting the injury situation. Obviously this is all just hearsay, but do you feel that the TRT use in training camps would affect the injuries at all, or do you see any correlation?
Would affect the injuries in helping them or hurting them?
Just seeing guys go harder than they probably would normally go, or, I mean, obviously when they're amping up testosterone, it increases their aggression and maybe not being necessarily respectful of their training.
I don't think so. Actually, I think the TRT helps recover faster and helps them heal faster. You know, the whole TRT thing is crazy. It's first of all, it's 100% legal. You go in, you get an exemption from the athletic commission. It's completely legal. You know, people are talking about it like it's steroid abuse. It's the furthest thing from it. You know, so no, I don't think there's anything. And Bubba who?
I don't know. It was on the internet. I don't know who it is.
Great success that Frankie has had at 155. Why do you feel like you'd be better at 145?
Why do I think Frankie would be better at 145? Well, I'm not saying that I think he'd be better. I mean, I think that's his true weight class. And, you know, you see what an aggressive, powerful guy he is. And if you look at the guys that he's beat at 155 pounds, I mean, it's the best guys in the world at 155. And I just think, that, you know, how do I know? I mean, 145 maybe it's, I don't. But I think if he's that great at 155, imagine how strong and explosive he'd be at 145.
So, Frankie, do you feel like you ever consider going down 145?
Yeah, I think it happened in the future. You know, there's definitely a lot of intriguing matchups and maybe, you know, a little longevity in your career. We'll see.
Well, here's the real question. The real question is, if he wins at 155 pounds and has the title again, does he move to 45?
I don't know. We'll see.
I already know the answer. When he doesn't have the title, he doesn't want to go to 45. He's got it. You think he's going to go to 45? No. Let's stop this because he's seriously going to kick my ass. No more 45-pound questions for Frankie Edgar today, please. Who's got the next question?
Right here. This one goes out to Frankie. Looking back at your guys' first fight, do you feel like you actually won the fight? Or do you feel like that the decision was a good call?
You know, I did. Immediately after I did, but I mean, you know, it was a close fight. So I'm not going to sit there and really care about it. I got the rematch. That's all I care about.
And do you have any predictions for this upcoming fight, like a knockout or a submission?
You know, I just want to get my belt back. That's all the person I want.
What about you, Benson? Do you have any predictions for this fight?
It'll be fun to watch. Make sure you're there. I think it's going to be until Friday. They're on T-Horse.
I'll be there.
Yeah, I just got a couple quick questions for Dana over here. What's up, buddy? How are you?
Hi.
Hey, man, I know we can't forget our the athletes here, but I mean, because they're amazing and everything, but we also can't forget about our beautiful women that do the ring cards. You know, I know last year our young didn't really sign or anything here when she was here. Can you make sure that, you know, she does the signature when she comes down for us?
What's the question? You want the ring card girls?
Yeah, just to make sure that, you know, Ariana does some, you know, that she does some signatures for us when she comes down. Because I know last year
I'll put her ass to work when we get there.
Just make sure that number's a yearly thing for us here, man. I love you guys here, man. So, all right, deal.
I had a question for Frankie. Frankie, Ben had made some comments on the internet that 10 out of 10 times he would DM you. What are your comments and thoughts on that?
Well, I guess we're going to find out this second time around, I guess, 1-1, 2-2. I mean, I don't know if we'll go 10, but at least we'll go another, so.
For a while in boxing, they experimented with the open scoring system. I was wondering what you guys would think about the UFC.
I don't know, man. I'm on the fence with that one. I think it takes a lot of. First thing that I think it does is I think it takes a lot of suspense out of watching the fight. Number one, and number two, and maybe I don't know. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. I think it will sway judges in scoring fights, because imagine if that Pacquiao fight was open scoring and they showed the score at the end of every round, they'd probably be going crazy. And I don't know. It's weird. It's never been that way, and I don't know how to do it.
Hey Dana, general question for the UFC. Does the UFC, are they involved whatsoever in the education of jiu-jitsu when it comes to mixed martial arts? Because I guess the biggest complaint that I see amongst people, general fans, is that when it hits the ground, they don't necessarily know what's happening. So I'm just wondering if the UFC is involved in the education of jiu-jitsu/grappling.
Well, it's funny because when we first bought this company and got involved in this, the number one thing we thought we were going to have a lot of trouble with was the ground game. People understanding jiu-jitsu and what was going on when people got there. Because in the United States, we came from this stand-up culture. I mean, even if you look at the old John Wayne movies, you never hit a man when he's down. John Wayne would hit a guy, and then he'd pick him up, and then he'd hit him again. You know what I mean? You didn't jump down there and start punching him in the face. That's un-American. So we knew that was going to be a huge problem. And as we started to get into it, I mean, if you look at how educated crowds are everywhere we go now, not just in the United States, but all over the world, it caught on a lot faster than we thought it would. But one of the things that we do is that, we set up all these different, we have a lot of different charities that we are part of and everything, but we have been setting up, mixed martial arts, everything, the old PAL gyms, the PAL, police athletic leagues, and things like that for boxing. And we've been funding a lot of those for mixed martial arts now, trying to educate the younger generation about jiu-jitsu and mixed martial arts in general. But when you're watching the show, I think there's no better educator of what's going on the ground than Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan does a phenomenal job of walking you through what's happening, and he literally calls it before it happens. So Joe is phenomenal at kind of educating the masses on television. But as far as education goes for jiu-jitsu, that's about as much as we can do. Thank you. Thanks.
So the UFC made a deal with EA Sports for a video game. Now on the internet, Bellator said that they made a deal with some other smaller company. But their poster child, Eddie Alvarez, supposedly is not going to be in that deal. Now the rumors are saying that he might come to the UFC. Is that something that we might see? And for Benson and Frankie, would you be willing to fight him if he does come?
That was a long question, and I got bits and pieces of it, but the gist of it is Eddie Alvarez coming to the UFC.
Yeah, because supposedly he didn't sign the contract to be in that video game with Bellator.
Oh, okay.
So they're saying that rumors is that he might still be in contract.
Well, I can say this. We're always trying to get the best fighters in the world in the UFC, and blah, 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 blah. We'd like to have them. So we'll see what happens. That's my can statement.
As far as I go, I would love to fight all the best guys on the planet at 155. If you guys consider him a top whatever guy on the planet at 155, I want to fight him. I want to beat him. I'll work my butt off to make sure I do that.
Frank, would you fight him?
Eddie's a good friend of mine, he's a training partner, so, I'm not looking to fight him right now. I'm looking to fight Ben, that's about it.
So Frank, 145.
This question is for the fighters, Ben and Frankie. How confident, Ben, are you that you will retain your title against Frankie? And Frankie, how confident are you that you will regain your title back against today?
Yeah, all we're fighters, obviously we're pretty confident. And to rebut that one statement the guy said I made over online, don't believe everything you read. You gotta read a little more. I said I will work my butt off to want to make sure if we do fight 10 out of 10 times, I get my hand raised. I'm not really much of a cocky guy, I don't cross that way, so it's, you know, it's cool.
So this question is for Dana. First of all, thank you for everything you've done for the sport over here.
Thank you.
Yeah, I've watched since UFC 1, was in junior high and high school, so the fighters and Dana, thank you for everything, for the fans.
Thank you, bro.
And what I want to know is, especially after what happened in boxing, how long do you think it's going to take for this to get mainstream and people to stop talking about, oh, it's so much more dangerous? It's not more dangerous than football. It's not more dangerous than the other sports out there. It's safe. How long do you think it's going to take for people to understand that this is where it's at, especially after what happened last week?
Here's what you got to think about. When we bought this company 11 years ago, this thing was so, I mean, we started at below zero. The thing would have gone bankrupt, but the stigma that was attached to the sport was crazy. When we bought this thing, venues wouldn't even accept it, wouldn't even have us perform there, right? And now we're on Fox.
Yeah.
And now we're global. And, you know, all the other things that are going on. You know, EA said, you know, this isn't a sport, but now we're with EA. And the list goes on and on. I think that's already changing and turning. And what's starting to happen is we're on, like, you know, we got our first television deal 7 or 8 years ago. And there's been like 2 generations of younger people that have grown up with the UFC, and now we're with Fox for the next 7. So as this younger generation, mixed martial arts is the new martial art.
Absolutely.
It's what kids are taking and people are taking all over the world. I mean, just every day that goes by crushes more and more and more of that.
Great. Thank you again.
Thank you. Let's take a couple more and we'll wrap this thing up.
This question goes to the answer. How do you prepare after having 2 fights against Penn, 2 fights against Maynard, and now the second fight against Henderson?
I mean, really, it's the same way you prepare for any fight, you know. There's got ups and downs for fighting a guy just previously before, you know. You've been in there with him, but then again, he's been in there with you, so, you know, you can make certain adjustments. But, you know, it's comfortable. I'm comfortable with the fact that I did it, you know, 2 times already, so it's my 3rd time in a rematch.
This question's for Dana. Going back to the mirror fight, Lesnar was there, and he scored a pretty nice red tan. What's his status in fighting so
He had a pretty nice what?
Tan.
Tan?
Yeah, he was pretty red.
He was pretty tan?
Yeah, did you see the picture of him?
He asked me about his tan.
What's his status? Is he hanging out with
What's his status? Well, he called me about a week and a half before the fight and said he wanted to come. And I said, cool. He came. He wanted to talk that night. Went and talked, and we didn't have a very good conversation. And I haven't talked to him since. That's it. Thank you guys so much for coming. We appreciate your support.
Yeah, smooth. That's it.
Go, champ.